Hello there. Today I am going to share with you some of the local authors that I met recently at a local book sale. Every year in Beausejour, Manitoba, there is a gigantic used book sale. And this year, for the first time ever, they invited local authors to set up shop. I had the pleasure of meeting some of these authors and having some great conversation. So I figured it would be very nice for them if I shared with you a little bit about them. K.M. Ray at kmray.ca, author of the Twilight Realm series, paranormal, romantic comedy, and urban fantasy, and a couple of standalone books. Scarlett Kol at scarlettkol.com, known for her YA romance and fairytale retellings. L. Robin at lrobinbooks.com, author of children's books. Chelsey Fay, romance author. You can find her at chelseyfay.com. Tanya Renee, romance author. You can find her on Facebook. C. Lynn, author of Wash Me Away, a collection of poetry about relationships and all that they entail. Nicholle Realle, books involving emotional trauma and mental health. She can also be found on Facebook. Marilyn Sitar, children's book author, who can also be found on Facebook. Jacob Tamlin, fantasy author, can be found on Facebook. B. Mackenzie, spicy romance, bmackenzieauthor.com. E.J. Lindell, dark fantasy author. She can also be found on Facebook. Overall, it really was a great day. I really enjoyed speaking to some of the authors. Now, you might have noticed in the video, I did miss a few authors in providing information. In some ways, it was just difficult to get around the people, the crowds of people hovering over all the tables. I couldn't get quite close enough to read the title of the books or the author names, and it was very difficult to see afterwards in the video. So I apologize to those authors whom I missed, and hopefully I will catch you next year. In terms of my shopping, I did buy some children's books for my nieces and also an Italian cookbook for my Italian brother-in-law. I did buy a couple of books for me. However, I did find that there was no high fantasy novels or high fantasy romance that I could find in that big, huge room filled of used books. I also did not carry enough funds with me to purchase any books from the authors that I met. However, I do have their information and I'll check back with them later once I get through some of my own TBR list. In terms of my authorly goals, my writing and personal goals, I have been very busy, a little bit more active than I had been. I kind of burnt out a little bit. I have not had much time to do podcast episodes or YouTube videos, but I did try writing for a contest. Now, there was a local writing contest in Selkirk, and it was due by Friday last week. Now, I had previously written a short story that fell within the word count and in the fantasy genre that I want to publish in. Now, I worked on that thing, I reworked it, I edited it, and in the end, I discovered that because it was previously published in an anthology, I could not submit it for this contest, which is something that I should have known. Any other short stories I had previously written were just way too long for the contest, as the word count limit was 1,200 words. I have not written very many short stories within that window of word count. So unfortunately, I could not submit it. So Thursday, I sat down and I started writing something new, but it was very difficult, felt very forced, and I just stopped. I also was getting a ton of interruptions with phone calls and kids and family, and I was just too frustrated. So Friday morning I woke up and I thought, I don't have enough time. So I didn't submit. So maybe next year. Otherwise, I have been dabbling away at reading my TBR list, and I got my new book by Samantha Shannon for Mother's Day. and I can't wait to read it, but I have 2 or 3 other books that I want to get through before I start this beast. It takes me about a month to read. I'm thinking it's over 800 pages. Yeah, 868 pages in this book, so it will take some time. Meanwhile, I've been working on gardening. I've got family coming in from Ontario in the next couple of weeks, so it will get busy again. So I apologize if you don't see a video from me every week, but you should see something either podcast related or YouTube related next week. All right, that's it for today. Have a great rest of your day, afternoon, evening, night, or whatever, and keep on writing.